thank you guys for attending this afternoon for our next one in the series with our OUHSC Nutritional Sciences students. Today we have Yash, Jessica, and Cody with us talking about how we can fill up with fiber and the important role that it plays in our everyday diet. So thank you all, and we enjoy looking forward to what you have to teach us today.
Thank you. So my name is Yash, and I'm going to be leading us off here. So we're going to be talking about filling up with fiber. So these are some objectives that we want you guys to know by the end of the presentation. And this is a brief overview of what we're going to talk about. So first, we're going to go into like what fiber is, the types of fiber, the benefits, and then defining refined versus unrefined carbohydrates. Then we're going to talk about making your food fiber friendly at restaurants. And we're also going to talk about how to improve your fiber consumption when preparing meals at home. So we're actually just going to go into a little quick game here. Basically, the way this game is going to work is I'm going to show you a series of images, and I want you guys to answer the question in the chat if you guys think this food has fiber or not. So first picture we have here is a bowl of oatmeal. Go ahead and let me know in the chat if you guys think that if this food has fiber or not, and I'll pull up the chat right now. Okay, looks like I'm getting a lot of yeses. Perfect, yeah. So oatmeal is a great source of fiber indeed. I will move on to the next image now. This is an image of a pizza. What do you guys think about this one? Do you guys think this has fiber on it? Okay, I hear some no's. No, no, no. Minimal but tiny amount, okay. No, not much, okay. All right. Move on to the next image. How about this one? This is a burger. Some, okay. A little, some, yep. Yes, some, okay. Yes. A little, okay, yep. A little, yep, okay. Looks like you guys are getting it. And we'll move on to the last image here. This is a bowl of popcorn. Yes, okay. Yep, all right. Yes, seeing some yeses. Looks good, yep. Yeah, yes. Perfect. So the answer to all these images was yes for everything. And the reason we wanted to show you guys these images is because we wanted to show that there's ways to incorporate fiber in all the foods that including the ones that we deem kind of unhealthy or bad, like the burgers and pizza. So a big portion of this presentation is going to be talking about how we can incorporate fiber into our lifestyles, maybe when we're not presented with the opportunity to eat fresh fruits and vegetables all the time. So moving right along here, I wanted to go into what fiber is really. So fiber is a part of the plant-based foods that can't be digested in the body. So the way I like to think about it is if it was planted, watered, and then grown by sunlight, it has some fiber in it. So the recommended intake for healthy people is 25 grams for females and 32 grams for males. And our sources are generally fruits, vegetables, grains, beans, nuts, and seeds. So you might be wondering, like, what does 32 grams of fiber look like in food? So I made a little menu here and I broke it down with the fiber content. So for breakfast, I ate a bowl of oatmeal with a half cup of blueberries, 2 tablespoons of almond butter, banana, and honey. And that had 12 grams of fiber in it. And then as a snack, I had a medium-sized apple, which has 4 grams of fiber in it. For lunch, I went to Jimmy John's and grabbed a turkey tom, which has 6 grams of fiber in it. For dinner, I had Chick-fil-A. I got the grilled chicken sandwich with medium fries that has 7 grams of fiber in it. And for dessert, I had a yogurt parfait with a 1/3 cup of granola, which has 3 grams of fiber in it. So again, just showing you that we could potentially eat out at restaurants and not have to go out of our way to get fiber in when we're eating out. So there's 2 types of fiber that you want to be mindful of. It's insoluble and soluble, and foods generally contain both insoluble and soluble. So the insoluble portion is higher in whole grains, and it bulks up the stool and it increases the transit time of the stool. Whereas the soluble portion, it draws water into the stomach and it creates like a gel-like substance. And it actually sits in your stomach for a lot longer, and it creates like a satiation effect. So you'll feel fuller when you're eating more soluble fiber because of that gel that it creates in your stomach. So there are some really, really good benefits of fiber. One being improved glucose control, improved cardiovascular health, improved gut health, and then lowering your risk of stroke, type 2 diabetes, and cancer. So a lot of questions that I get a lot about grains from my family is about, what's the difference between a whole grain and a refined grain? So this is a picture of a whole grain here. So it basically contains the bran, which is the antioxidants and the fiber. And then it contains the germ portion, which is the protein, the fat, and the B vitamins. And the last portion remaining is the endosperm, which is the starchy portion or the carbohydrate portion. And if you can see in the image, a large portion of it is the endosperm, like that middle piece. So going into the refining process is when the bran and the germ are removed. So what that means is the fiber, the protein, and the minerals are being removed. And then you're left with the endosperm, which is just the carbohydrate. So when they process it, they have to re-enrich it because they removed all the vitamins and the minerals. And when they remove the vitamins and minerals and then enrich it, the vitamins and minerals that are added back are added in smaller proportions than the whole grain. So you might be wondering, like, okay, should I just give up refined grains for the rest of my life? And the answer is no. There's nothing inherently bad about refined grains, but we want to be mindful that we are missing out on vitamins and minerals that are necessary for our health when we choose to eat some refined grains over whole grains. So my recommendation to you guys is to focus your diet predominantly on whole grains. So the dietary guidelines for Americans recommends that you eat half of your servings of grains as whole wheat or whole grain. And you should definitely enjoy refined carbohydrates in moderation. So things like pizza, tacos, all the things that we enjoy. So now Jess is going to join us and talk to us about fiber in groceries and how you can incorporate it into your household.
Thank you, Yash. That was a great rundown you just gave us, the overview of fiber there. So I wanted to start our discussion of finding fiber in your groceries by talking about the nutrition label, the nutrition facts label. So the 4 kind of most important things I think you need to pay attention to when thinking about fiber and whether or not you want to choose this item if you're trying to focus on fiber is serving size, then the grams of fiber. Pay attention to how much sugar is in it because sometimes those fiber items will add sugar just to make it more palatable to you. And then the ingredients too. So the nutrition label we have to the right. Sorry, I got my left and right mixed up for just a moment there. I've circled the area in which you can find the fiber and the sugars. It's under total carbohydrates. And you can see that the dietary fiber for this item is 4 grams. And to the right of that, it also has the percentage that would make up if you were following a 2,000 calorie diet. So that would just kind of give you a good idea how much that item is giving you for your total daily needs of fiber. And then serving size is up there at the top. That's a good one to pay attention to just because it matters. Sometimes if you look at some ice cream, let's say, I know this doesn't have fiber in it, but this illustrates serving size pretty well. Some ice cream labels will have a 1/3 of a cup listed as the serving size. Do any of you eat a 1/3 of a cup of ice cream? Anybody? You know, put it in the chat. You're gonna claim that? No, Rebecca does not eat a third of a cup. I don't either. I think my bowls of ice cream probably verge on being 2 cups, but that would, and Krista says, no, what would be the point? Exactly. So that label, you would need to multiply that by what? That would be 6. 6 you would need to multiply that label by to really understand what was in what you were actually eating. So it's always good to pay attention to your serving size. And then I put these 2 labels here for ingredients and kind of comparing ingredients. Oftentimes you will hear some people say, look for packaged goods that have less ingredients, 5 ingredients or less. I think some people throw around. So the one down at the bottom underneath our little list has 3 ingredients: dates, peanuts, and salt. And that is a Laura bar. And that's what's in it. Then over here, we've got just a very long laundry list of ingredients. You can see, can you see my little arrow, my pointer here? Anybody? Yes, okay. So right here, you can see this cellulose. That's something they're adding in to provide fiber. That wheat bran right there, they're adding that in so that they can provide some fiber in that item, which on this one, you've got peanuts, and that's, I'm sure the dates have a little fiber, but the peanuts are providing the majority of the fiber that's in this item. So it's a more whole ingredient that this item is sourcing their fiber for. And this item is really getting their fiber from different additives, which is not necessarily bad. It's just something you might want to think about when picking these products. My favorite part is how we can get fiber into our dishes at home, the stuff that we make, the stuff that we like to share with other people. So a great thing to think about is bread, beans, pasta. There's a lot of pasta options out there these days. Additions that you can put into your favorite dishes to bulk up the fiber that's in that dish, and snacks, thinking about what you can easily grab quickly that has fiber. So first, let's talk about bread. Bread can be all over the place. You can have less than a gram of fiber in a slice of bread, or you can have 4 grams of fiber in a slice of bread. So you always want to pay attention to the label, of course, we talked about that. Whole wheat bread is a good option, but you want to look for the label to say 100% whole wheat, because words don't necessarily, nobody plays the word police for labels. So words don't necessarily mean everything that you would like them to. And there's something in the chat that I am not. Fran says, emphasizing variety in grain-based whole grains. And thank you for including grains in this presentation. You're delightful, Fran.
So she's actually the dietitian.
I know. I've actually met Fran and had wonderful interactions with Fran. So I'm glad you're here, Fran, to give us some pointers as well. But you can see, like with this rye bread here, it's a little low, even though it's a whole grain bread usually. The ones that really kind of pump up the fiber content are the seeded breads, the ones that add in my biscuits over here. I kind of rolled them in sesame seeds and oh gosh, I'm losing the word.
Chia.
Nope, not chia. Nope, I'm not going to get it. I rolled my biscuits in seeds before I baked them, and that adds in poppy seeds. Thank you. Yes, poppy seeds. That adds in a lot of fiber, and it doesn't necessarily change the flavor too terribly much. Plus you put butter on it, and that's delightful. Thank you, Rebecca. Poppy seeds. Goodness. And then next is my absolute favorite add-in, because it really does kind of take your fiber level up to a whole nother degree, is beans. You can see here, all of these beans have a delightful amount of fiber in just 1 cup. Pinto beans, my favorite for some chili. Chickpeas, I love using in salads, and lentils and split peas are great for just any kind of soup, really, because they kind of just dissolve into a delicious nothing, a delicious nothing. They're just there. And then edamame is a good one for a snack, because you can get that frozen edamame and add in some salt and just snack on those really easy. The ones in the pods that they give you at the Japanese restaurants, delicious. 1 cup. Rachel, the 1 cup is cooked. So yes, it would be cooked beans. Thank you for the question. Before I move on, I guess I should pause and ask if anybody has any questions, because I'm not too terribly great at looking in the chat. I will pause. Okay, well, I will move on then. Beans, you can add them to lots of different things. Then we also have pastas. I throw this in because there are so many types of pastas out there now that aren't just your refined pastas, but even your normal wheat, just regular old pasta, your macaronis, have a little bit of fiber. But you can also go into the whole wheat pastas, which are really great if you're doing like a spaghetti meat sauce kind of application, because that sauce and the meat and the vegetables that you could put in that are so rich anyways that it doesn't necessarily change your experience of the pasta. But then they also have non-wheat pastas these days that are made out of chickpeas, brown rice, and legumes that really kind of up the fiber game in the pasta. Now, I know that some of these have a grainy texture, but I would encourage you, if you haven't tried them or you've tried them in the past and they've been not so great, I would encourage you to try them again, because they really have come a long way from where they were when these items first started coming out, because they've started adding, I would look for the ones on the label in the ingredients. If you really want to find one that has a good texture like pasta normally does, I would look for the ones that have tapioca flour in it, or I think it's gar gum. Those have those 2 additives in there to have the pasta hold together a little better and not be as mushy and grainy. So keep an eye out for those if this is something you would like to try. I realize this isn't going to appeal to everyone, but it's an easy way to add in fiber to a dish that you already enjoy, like lasagna or spaghetti, or pasta salad is a really good one too. So I've been talking about additions to dishes, but I wanted to address that specifically because if you're making a soup that you always make, let's take chicken noodle soup. Everybody's got a chicken noodle soup recipe, or their favorite canned chicken noodle soup. One thing you can do to really add in some fiber to that is add in some navy beans. Navy beans are the small white beans. They're really unobtrusive. The skin that's on them is not too thick. They're a good add-in without kind of taking over the dish and making it something different. So you can think about that. You can think about adding seeds and nuts, like my biscuits example that I had earlier. Flax seeds and chia seeds, if you do smoothies in the morning, those are a great add-in and they just mix right in. You don't notice them too much at all. Whole grains, like the right over here, we've got some farro. Whole grains are a great option if you're having a salad because it can provide some texture and some nuttiness and some fiber. And then of course, we have my favorites, fruits and vegetables. They both have fiber, they have flavor, and they have texture. And they're really great to add to things. I was talking about spaghetti earlier. One of my favorite additions to a spaghetti red sauce with Italian sausage is some zucchini. You slice that up, you can just saute it real fast, add it in at the end, and it still has a good texture, and it just melds right in with the rest of the flavors, and you're getting not only that fiber, but the nutrients that come along with it. And next, of course, is simple snacks that you can do. Stuff that you could have already sliced up in your refrigerator waiting for you that are easy as opening a protein bar. You know, you just walk over to the fridge and you grab your red pepper slices and your hummus. The hummus is going to give you great flavor with those red pepper slices, but also some fiber. Of course, there's broccoli and ranch. Who doesn't like that? My personal favorite when I was pregnant and I was looking for healthy, easy things to eat that would be good for me and also give me fiber was pairing a fruit with a nut butter, because you can easily spread that on and it not only gives you the fiber, but it also gives you some good protein too. And then over here to this side, I'm circling it here, is my hands down go-to snack. I make up a grain salad and I make enough for 2 or 3 days, put it in the fridge, and then I can easily get a cup of grain salad and eat it quickly. I've got 2 kids, so I'm always looking for things that are fast, but will still be healthy for me. So these are suggested things that you could put in a grain salad. And just real quick, when I say grain salad, this right here is a good example, this farro right here. You cook that up, and then that is kind of the base of the salad. You're adding these items in to that base of, I'm using farro as an example, but brown rice is also a good base grain that has plenty of fiber. Let's see, cracked bulgur wheat. Have you guys heard of that? Anybody heard of that? No, yes. Yes, Rebecca has heard of bulgur wheat, so has Kelly. Fantastic. That's a really good one. You should try it, Lindsay. Lindsay says she has not used bulgur wheat before. It's a good one because you don't have to actively cook it. You can use a soaking method where you boil water and then pour it over the bulgur, and it sicks, and it does its own cooking while you're chopping up vegetables or something like that. So I like to use that one too, but there's lots of grains out there, and I would encourage you to go out and try different ones. Quinoa is very popular, and that would be good for this grain salad. Fran loves barley, and it does take a while to cook, which is why I love the bulgur wheat so much. So with your materials that you'll get after the presentation, I did include a recipe for my salad that I usually make, but you can change it. It's very customizable. You can add in whatever kinds of vegetables you like, whatever kinds of dried fruit. It's very adjustable to your preferences. And Fran gave us a great tip that you can cook up a bunch of barley and then freeze it. And I often do that myself with brown rice for making stir fries and stuff like that. Good suggestion, Fran. Thank you. Oh, shoot. Okay, and so this is our activity, but does anybody have questions before we move on to our activity? Okay, going once, going twice. I'm gonna do it. All right, so in this activity, these are all cereals, and I want you all to find the fiber. I want you to tell me which cereal would be the best source of fiber. And you could just put it in the chat. All right, Rebecca and Kelly say 1. Everybody's on the 1 bandwagon. All right, fantastic. You guys are doing a great job of reading labels because yes, it is number 1. I did not know the Cliff Bar people made cereal, but they do. And then Fran says 2 is close second. That's true. And that's Cheerios. And I often associate Cheerios with fiber, so no surprise there. The Cliff cereal over here, I will say the reason it gets up there so easily with its fiber are the nuts that's added into it. So that's a good item to look for when you're considering cereal options. If it has some nuts in it, then it will boost the fiber content. And then of course we've got our Special K and our Fruit Loops. And I would encourage you to go back and compare those two because they're awfully close in not having fiber. Okay, next we've got snack bars, energy bars. Which would be our winner in this category? Don't shut up, Fran, you're delightful. What do you guys think about these energy bars here? And this one's easy with the serving size because they're all 1 bar. But I would also mention that you can look at the grams right here next to the serving size, and that will tell you how big the bar is too. Rebecca says 2, Kelly 2, Rachel 2. Sounds like we're landing on 2, guys. All right, and you guys are correct. 2 would be our winner. And there again, it's the nuts. It's the nuts that takes it higher. Yeah, these 2 fellas over here, their pictures play a real good game with the fiber here, but when you really look at how much fiber is in those, it's just not a lot. Okay, now frozen meals. Come on, we've all eaten frozen meals in a pinch before, so here's one we can look for fiber in a frozen meal. What do you guys say? 3, 3, 3. Rachel's going with 3. And you're also correct. It's popping out real easy to you guys now, the fiber in the nutrition label, isn't it? So this one, there again, they have pumpkin seeds, pepitas, pumpkin seeds in their power bowl here. And that really helps boost the fiber. So good job, guys. Glad you were paying attention. And then next we're going to have Cody come tell us about finding fiber and restaurants.
Hi, I'm Cody, and there's several reasons why we may want to eat at a restaurant compared to going cooking at home. And some of the reasons are stress. Sometimes we're just too busy to cook, and that's completely okay with school, work, kids, other life responsibilities. So sometimes it's just much more easier and less stressful to eat out. And then motivation to cook. Sometimes we just don't want to cook even if we don't have the time. I know I've been there. Sometimes I would much rather take a nap instead of cooking. And then cravings, we've all had cravings. We all have that certain food from our favorite restaurant that we just have to eat, that no one's going to stop us from eating it. And obviously the pandemic kind of threw a wrench in things with not a lot of people wanting to go out in public, and stores closing and opening up at weird times. So it's much easier just to order curbside to go from Chili's rather than trying to figure out what foods to get and cook. But just because the food comes from a restaurant doesn't mean necessarily that it's low in fiber. So most restaurants have a portion of their website or a whole dedicated website dedicated to nutrition facts from all the foods that they offer. Or you could also ask at the restaurant for a hard copy of their nutrition sheet, which most of them should have. And then even if the meal is advertised as low in fiber, you could always add and substitute high fiber sources. For example, if you have a meal with burgers and fries, you can substitute the fries for something like beans. And it's not bad to ask, they can accommodate you. And most restaurants have different food options that you can choose from their menus. So just some examples of fast food restaurants that are popular. Taco Bell, for their bean burrito, the ones that you could get from the dollar menu, it has 11 grams of fiber, and that's without changing anything. And the sources of fiber are the beans in the tortilla. And for like substitution choices, you can add beans to any menu on the item, or you could put it on the side. And another option or another restaurant would be Chick-fil-A. So the cool wrap, which is right here, this is what it looks like, because I didn't really know what it looked like before I researched. It has 14 grams of fiber already. And the sources of the fiber for that are the flaxseed flour flatbread. And substitutions that you can make for the chicken sandwich are the toasted multigrain bun, because the original bun that comes in is the wheat bun. So, and the multigrain bun has way more fiber than the regular bun. And, now we're just going to do a quick check on learning. So for the first question, how would I improve the fiber content of my, meals when eating lunch at Chipotle? And just put it in the chat. Four. And you guys would be correct. It's 4. You have those extra black beans. And at most Chipotle's, there's no extra charge for you, so it's free fiber. Our second question is, whole grain refinement removes the blank and blank, leaving the blank. Fran, yes. 3.
That's good.
Yep, good job, guys. It's a brand German endosperm.
Some of the nutrition students didn't even get this right.
So the bran and germ were removed, which contain the vitamins and minerals, leaving the starchy endosperm. So whole grain is typically healthier or has more nutrients than like white bread. Sorry, I keep forgetting. Oh, you have to quote. Yep. And then the third question is, when reading a food label or the nutrition facts, I can identify fiber content of the food in what section?
One. Number 1. Perfect.
Yep, you guys are correct. The total carbohydrates. And then just be on the lookout for the total sugars to see if it's too high or not. And that concludes our presentation. Do you guys have any questions for us?
Yes, great information. Thank you all. Give you the employees a moment to drop any questions that they have in the chat. I know I've also done a good job addressing some of those throughout the workshop. So good stuff. I love how you let us know that, hey, it's not really, you don't have to really modify our just regular eating habits a whole lot. Ways that we can still like integrate a little more fiber into what a lot of common foods we already eat. I love Chipotle, so I always love adding those extra black beans and veggies whenever I can. So yes, that was excellent. Now I'm hungry for some Chipotle. So yes, please, anybody, if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead, drop those in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself real quick, by all means, go right ahead. The silence must mean you guys did an amazing job. So wonderful. Yes. So like I said, I'll send that follow-up email with the slides. Sounds like have maybe a recipe or two that will be shared as well. So to help give additional ideas of how to continue to insert some extra fiber into our regular diets and stay full for longer, which helps with our healthy habits. So thank you guys so much, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day.